plenty of reps as both a wide receiver and defensive back in camp. He won the Heisman last season playing both offense and defense for Colorado. Plans to do the same in the NFL for Jacksonville this year. But Davante Adams isn't convinced Hunter should see both sides of the ball. Let's listen.
I don't even think it's possible to do for real, not at a high level. I'm not even concerned so much if he can do it over the course of a game or a season. It's more like, how long is his career gonna be? You know, once you get out there playing both sides and now you gotta tackle, you gotta tackle Derrick Henry with that frame.
All right, Damian, is Travis Hunter more valuable as a wide receiver or as a DB?
I think for the Jacksonville Jaguars, he's more valuable as a wide receiver, even though I think he's a better defensive back. And the reason why I say he's more valuable as a wide receiver, because ultimately the end game for Jacksonville is fixing the quarterback. That's why, like, think about everything that's going on to try to get Trevor Lawrence turned around. Liam Cohen obviously had success with Baker Mayfield as the offensive coordinator with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's now the head coach. You got Brian Thomas Jr., who had an outstanding first year. Now you double down and you go out and you move up in the draft and you get Travis Hunter, who's going to play. He's going to be on offense, because you gotta get return on your investment with Trevor Lawrence. You're paying Trevor Lawrence like $55 million a year, okay? And Trevor Lawrence has not shown you yet that he's consistently one of these quarterbacks that we think of as far as these young star quarterbacks that we have in the AFC. And so for me, again, with Travis Hunter, I think Travis Hunter can be like a all-pro type cornerback. I think he can walk into the game and have that type of impact defensively, but I think they need to get Trevor Lawrence rehabilitated. They need to get him going. So I think the offensive side of the ball is where it's going to be.
Mina?
I'm so torn on this because, Damian, I agree with you. I think cornerback, to me, is where I see, like, true superstar.
Yes.
Watching his college tape. And the Jags desperately need help in their pass defense. This was the worst pass defense in the NFL, guys, last year. So it's really hard for me not to watch college tape of Travis Hunter and not imagine him helping fix that secondary. But Damian is right. The quarterback is the most pressing issue in Jacksonville. And you can envision a world, and I'm sure this is what Liam Cohen, their new head coach and play caller, has in mind, where you have almost a Jamar Chase, T. Higgins-like effect, like how Joe Burrow had when he had a 1A and 1B in Cincinnati, and in the development that ensued with Travis Hunter playing next to Brian Thomas Jr., who's an absolute superstar. If Hunter is the best receiver in this draft, I thought he was, that is a really scary proposition in terms of the passing attack. So I think I understand why Jacksonville is going 80% receiver, 20% corner, even if I do think you're not maximizing Travis Hunter, the individual player, doing it this way.
I think he's more valuable as a defensive back. I think that what you pointed out in terms of the need in their secondary is a big deal. I think anytime your defense is shored up in any kind of way, that obviously helps your offense as well, because it gives you more bites at the apple because you can stop somebody. I think that's something that's important. The other thing that I think is important is something very rudimentary in my eyes, and that is when you're on defense, you're hitting more than you get hit. I understand how physical the sport of football is, but when you're on defense, you're hitting more than you get hit. When you're a wide receiver, you're going to take some hits, especially if you're a primary target. And I think that endangers this guy even more. So, of course, you're going to utilize him. Of course, he's going to be that two-way player. That's what Cohen and Gladstone are saying, and we get that part. And we understand why. That's why you moved up to pick him number 12 overall. But in the end, when you look at it, and you look at his frame and what have you, Davante Adams did not tell a lie. I mean, you got to go out there. These are men that you're playing with mortgages and livelihoods on the line, okay? And they're looking at you. I don't care how gifted you are. Matter of fact, the more gifted you are, the more physical they want to be with you, because the physicality is the only kind of advantage they can perceive themselves as having against a star athletic dude like Travis Hunter. So the more you expose him on the offensive side of the ball, the more you endanger him. And that's why I say, listen, I view him as a more valuable at the DB spot, not just because he can play, but because of longevity purposes.
Yeah, listen, I think, you had talked about, like, basically Jacksonville Jaguars are irrelevant, but I think the Travis Hunter situation is the most intriguing going into the regular season. Yeah. But here's the thing. I think it would be irresponsible for the Jacksonville Jaguars to play him a lot both ways. Remember, in college, he didn't practice Deion Sanders didn't practice Travis Hunter at all because he played so many snaps in the game. You can't do that in the pros. You have to literally work on your skills because you are playing against the best of the best every single week.
That's a great point.
And so for me, like, again, I go back to, well, what's really, at the end of the day, what's most important for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Get your quarterback back on track. That's why I lean towards a wide receiver position over cornerback.
Yeah, makes sense. We'll leave it there, guys.
I mean, it's why I so
sorry.
appreciate hearing these NFL players come out, and talk about the difficulty of playing both ways, right? Like around the draft, when we expressed skepticism, people said, oh, you're hating, you did it in college, and you got now Travis Kelce, Devontae Adams, defensive players coming out and saying, guys, there's a reason why nobody plays 50-50 in the NFL. And I think the Jacksonville Jaguars understand that. But Stephen A is right. He is a slight player, build-wise. If he takes too much contact as a receiver, you do start to get worried about maximizing his ability to play both ways. So my hope for Jacksonville is that they really make adjustments as the season goes on based on what they're seeing on the field.
How much do you feel like Trevor Lawrence needs him? Because do we even know who the real Trevor Lawrence is?
A lot. We haven't seen like good Trevor Lawrence in like 3 years. Like it's like you can't pay someone $50-something million and not get
22 and 38 as a starter.
Yeah, I mean you can't pay someone that type of money and not get return on your investment. You're going to throw everything possible to get the most out of that quarterback.
And this isn't some guy that's like the little engine that could, the Doug Flutys of the world, to be like. Trevor Lawrence is like 6'5", 6'6".
Yes.
Okay, he's like
number one overall pick.
Okay, we saw what he did on the collegiate level at Clemson. This brother's no joke. There were expectations that came along with him, and he hasn't lived up to it.
Mina?
Yeah, I think having these two guys gives you a litmus test for Trevor Lawrence. If he can't take a leap with Travis Hunter playing wide receiver with Brian Thomas Jr., then you start to evaluate your future with him as a franchise.
When we come back here on First Take, going to Philly, are Jalen Hurts and the Eagles primed to return to the Super Bowl, or is there another NFC team we like to dethrone? Philly. We'll get into that after this quick break.
Organization to play him both ways 100%. Now, should they sprinkle him in on both sides of the ball? Absolutely, because he's a unicorn. He's so uber talented. But I think when you look at Travis Hunter and the reason they drafted him, please remember the number one thing is they're trying to get the most out of Trevor Lawrence as possible. That's why Liam Cohen is there. That's why you go out and get Travis Hunter, a guy who can help impact the offensive side. Yes, were the Jacksonville Jaguars terrible on defense? Absolutely. But you need return on your investment, all that money you pay Trevor Lawrence. So I think the impact is going to be more so on the offensive side of the ball than on the defensive side.
Week 1, Harry, we turn around, we see CB1, Travis Hunter, wide receiver 1, Travis Hunter, he plays 100 snaps. Is that possible?
Ooh, man. With Travis Hunter and the way he's in shape, I think with him anything is possible. Is it smart? Might not be the smartest. I'll tell you, this is one of the most intriguing things in the National Football League this season for me, because I actually do want to see if he has the ability to do it. Now, a lot of people are going to bring up, hey, he has to tackle people like Derrick Henry. Let me tell you folks I'll give you a little birdie. The last time I watched highlights of Derrick Henry, there were guys in the secondary taking mysterious angles. So Travis Hunter, just be like every other corner. Take those mysterious angles and say, I'm going to make a business decision, and Derrick Henry, you're going to get your yard. Just that simple for me. But when you have a guy that can be elite on offense and on defense, it also sets up a major payday, a payday that we've probably never seen in NFL history as well when he gets back to the table.
And he knows that. And if you're the Jaguars, you're making that massive trade on draft day because you want 2 players. So I've talked to multiple teams about this. They said there is a responsible way to do it. You go 40 snaps offense, 30 snaps defense, or maybe even less on defense. So make him like a 3rd down corner, put him in a zone. There are ways to do it. People say that, like the teams I talked to said, when you spend time with him, like if you actually went on the road, went to Colorado, he is such a special individual. He can do some of it. Can it hold up over the course of years is the question.
I love the Stones. I love the fact that they went and got him. They traded up to get him. They're saying, we're going to play him both ways. And if you're Jacksonville, which is a team that's been an absolute moribund franchise the last few years, in the doldrums, going back to when Urban Meyer was hired and all that went down, this is finally something that there's some positivity and there's some excitement around the team. But is it just a marketing thing? Is it just like do you think he legitimately